So we are here to talk about the art of getting what you want. Inspired, I like dog-eared at Kara because I was like, I must answer this question. And I was like, actually, we could do a whole class on this. So Kaya had this question at the end of our Sacred Seductress call last Thursday. And it was, this is what I remember it being, so I might be off, but it was around um how how did I can't remember if the word was trained, but how did I get Ian to step into the masculine that I was desiring from him? Is that a good paraphrasing? Yeah. Okay. So I thought this is great um, for us to go into. And I will say it was like not easy and it has been years in the making. But where I want to sort of take this with is like, I think collectively the question is how do I create a relationship, whether it's with our partner, a girlfriend, our children, uh, a colleague? How do I create a relationship where I don't have to manage, mother, nag, or force another person into showing up? Because that's not going to work. And what it also requires is to become a woman who is willing to participate. Hmm, my internet's really shoddy. Are we good? Okay, no one's frozen yet. So you've got to first become a woman who is willing to participate in the evolution of the relationship. Because this is one thing, and I say that even in relationships, you might be at a point where you are like, I don't want to participate. I would like to quit. I would like to walk away. I would like you to walk away. And so I think it's like from that place, right? How do you still stay willing to participate in the evolution? And in that, and it comes, really we're talking devotion or commitment, talking how to learn to receive, how to ask, how to coach, how to appreciate, and stay devoted at the same time where you are not abandoning yourself in it either. Um, so, like I said, it has been a long and arduous process with Ian. I am so grateful that he has been open to be a willing participant. Um, it's not like I cracked some secret code and then like one day Ian just became the man that I hoped he would. Um, or became the man who could meet me exactly where I wanted to be met. Cause I think that's the thing, like, you know, and I think this is one of the things that you said too, Kara, of like, like I just want a man who like I want where I can just be taken. And that's like one of the things that I really desired from Ian, because with work, I am moving throughout my day, like it looks like it looks like I'm in my feminine, which I'm in the feminine because I'm devoted to the tools and the practices, but I'm I'm constantly holding space, I'm leading, um, I'm taking action, I'm even in the feminine process of like creating, there can be a lot of masculine holding in that. So when I am done, like I want to go on and down to the house and I want to take off my cock. And I just want someone to hold me, like if he could just greet me, pick me up and throw me against the wall, like that's my fantasy, right? But he comes home from work and he's like wants someone to pick him up and throw him on the bed kind of thing also. So this has been the process of like, how do I get what I want? Inside of a relationship, the really important thing also is I can't treat the relationship like something is supposed to just magically work, right? I've got to start treating it like there's something that we are going to both be responsible for learning how to create. And that's also where it's tricky, because how do we get to be the seductress of like making sure that that other person is like on board with us? Because Ian and I have had years of conversations conflict, repair, learning, unlearning, and then ultimately coming back and choosing each other again. So that's the piece of both of us have agreed we have responsibility in this, even though sometimes, our ego might be like, no, we don't. We are choosing. That is the truth. And inside of that, that's how you become deeply committed to your evolution. And I think we also, I mean, this has also felt like it's been super, super significant in the collective. Like if you just even go on to IG, like the number of people who were talking about where people aren't meeting one another or people who aren't willing to show up and take that responsibility. Like Ian and I just got dumped by really close friends. I continue to trigger the fuck out of people because I do what I'm good at. And it's like this, it feels like there's like this headlight on, are you willing to be a part of it? Are you willing to have the conversation, the uncomfortable conversation? Are you willing to take responsibility in this? It's not just in my home. I see it in everywhere in my life, and I'm seeing it. I'm holding space for clients who are going through this. So something interesting is going on. So, okay. Talking about it within a partnership, it's like, in this case, I'm not trying to get Ian to be masculine. That's what I want. Right? It's if I were to just like roughly say it, like I would many times go, why can't you just be more masculine? But in the process of being the seductress, and we could also, I'll just step back. We don't have to just say this about our partners. Like I like to personify money as the masculine because money holds us. So, I mean, it's like, what are we saying for things you want in business, for money, for your partner? And so instead of saying, I just want you to be more masculine, what I'm really actually am trying to learn with him is how to communicate what I want, how to allow someone to contribute, how to receive, how to stop doing everything myself. Because I am very good at being in my masculine. So I do have to at some point take off the cock and promise that I will leave it off with my partner. How to give feedback without criticism. How this one's so big. How to appreciate what is happening, like appreciate what a person is doing. How to appreciate the money that is coming, how to appreciate the friend that is trying, and then also trying to discern whether that person, I think this is really big. It's different for Ian and I because, we have a marriage certificate between us. But if you are just in a relationship where you're dating or with friends, also being able to discern whether someone is actually here and willing to evolve with you. And so what I want to sort of introduce today, but we're going to play with more than just this. But one thing that I learned while going through the School of Womanly Arts was Regina has this practice called man training. And the thing about the training cycle it's not a manipulation technique. And this, like a lot of them, I feel like I'm manipulating. Also, I don't think it's manipulation when it's being done for the greatest and highest good of everyone. But we're going to kind of play with it from a different angle. So the thing also is that why it's not manipulation is it only works if the person on the other side actually wants to participate. So one big thing here too is like, where have I with Ian? So if my, like I said, it's not going to be seductive of me to say to him, just be more masculine, right? That might not get the results because it's just going to make him feel demasculated and he's going to be like, well, God damn it. And resentment will build up. So where within my request am I making it impossible for him to show up for me? Right? Because like what else am I saying? And can't you just be more masculine? Really, it's can't you just be, like you're not enough, and why can't you be enough? That's and I know this is something that we all carry, many of us carry, and that that's not a good feeling. So we don't want to start from there. Um, so I could say, oh, he never does anything for me. Or when he does do something, it's like quick chastising of him of like, no, not that way. Like, but not like that. That's not good enough. Or, well, then I'll just do it myself. That's another good line. If you are a do-it-yourselfer of like, it'll just be easier if I do it, right? Like it's like that is where we are refusing to take our cock off. Like we got to take it, we've got to remove it. It's time to put it down because otherwise we're just in a literal sword fight with our partner because it's literally just masculine against masculine. Um and not a fun. I don't know if dudes have fun doing, maybe they do because they do it, but it's not a fun one. Um so in this, receiving is a skill. Receiving is the feminine. Um, one of the most and with the training cycle, one of the most generous things that we can do for especially someone who's in their masculine is allow them to be useful. Like men love to be of service. They want to give to us. So to give a masculine something to be purposeful about, they love it. Men love tasks. That is the masculine. All the things that exhaust us, men are just like, give it to me. That's their biological programming. So this is where it's like, okay, I want you to be more masculine, which tends to translate with like, I want you to support, provide, um, you know, do more for me. So we could be more clear. Can you make dinner for me tonight? I would love if you could handle booking the restaurant for Friday. I would like to take a bath this evening. Can you help? Not help, sorry. Let me be even more clear. Can you please put the kids to bed while I take a bath? Will you bring the suitcases out to the car for me? I desire for you to take me on a date. So all of these clear requests where a man knows, or a friend or a colleague, or an employee knows, oh God, this is what she needs done, right? Instead of like, what you're doing is not enough. So, and in this way, when we're clear about our request, we're not making the request a test. Men also are very discerning of this, right? Like I feel like we've even seen that in movies, right? Like where men will be like, I feel like I'm being tested. We don't want to test a man. We really want to just give them the task and have them accomplish it. Like we don't want to test you. You just want the thing. Um, so with the test, it's like looking to see if they're doing it correctly. That is setting them up for failure. So this is like the receiving part that actually is our responsibility, where we're literally giving them the opportunity to contribute the way we want them to. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the training cycle. And then we're going to kind of play with it. We're not really going to go into the training cycle, but I want to introduce it so that you have this tool to take with you. But I want to play with, I like kind of doing a little switch, and play around with the requests piece, because I think that is one of the things within the training cycle for me that really changed how Ian responded and started to integrate. Because I will say, like, Ian has come so far, like he really was just like a very average, not average, wonderful. He was a wonderful dude, but like he wasn't doing any work on himself. He really was a very classic, I am masculine by nature, and in the masculine though really likes to be alone, and it like isolates. Whereas now he is like, he's in men's groups, he's in a coaching program, he's stepped into his own nutritional and fitness coaching, working with like, he, damn man, did it makes coaching look easy. He has clients. So he's like completely stepped into it. He signed us up for marriage counseling. So these are things like he's really, he really starts to get it. He's like, I actually don't know if we need marriage counseling. He's like, I think I should just be going to my own sessions. So he started doing the work. He was not doing any of these things before. So it felt difficult to communicate sometimes. So within the training cycle, there's three parts. It's kind of like a little sandwich. So the first thing that you want to do is say something to approve of them. I feel like the perfect example is like, like if the garbage can is sitting at the door and it's like very obvious. I don't know, at our house, Ian does the garbage. So it's like there. I would love if you would move it so it's not there. I feel like I don't have to say A is meant to get to B. So if that would be my desire, like I would love for him to get the garbage out of the house. And so what I'm not going to do is go and just directly say that. The first thing that I might do, and this isn't fake praise, it's not flattery, you just want to find something that is genuinely true. And so Ian really, again, in his masculine, he's so great at like tending to our property. He really loves that. He loves being outside and being able to work with his hands. So I would say something like, I just love how I can so count on and trust in you to just like take care of this very complicated property for us. Like, I am so grateful and relieved. I don't have to do that. You do such a good job. Like that is just genuine gratitude that I have. If it is too, like, if it feels like fake praise to them, it's going to feel like, like there might be this feeling of like, yes, and what are you about to criticize? So we want to just be very genuine. So we give an approval, offer praise. So then they feel good. And they were like, ooh, I feel seen. I feel validated. Then you come in. So the ask is in the middle. And that is where you just keep it super clean. I would love if you could take out the garbage before you leave the house. Could you please do that for me? So just a clean ask. And then the other part of the sandwich is once they do it, you then acknowledge their contribution. So again, oh my God, once the garbage is out, I've got to make sure I say, thank you so much, hubby. I love when you take this out. It feels so good to not see the garbage can, standing by the doorway and just like blocking that space. I'm so grateful. Thank you. As powerful goddesses and priestesses, also, this is where we can be like turned on, let them feel our gratitude. This is not where we come in and go, oh, I sure wish you could have brought that out earlier. Next time, can you do it without me asking? No, we're just going to acknowledge and fully receive their contribution, right? Let yourself receive the pleasure of being supported by somebody else. And you can see, like, I'm talking about Ian mostly because Kaya's question was around him, but you could see how this could play out in the workplace, or with your assistant, or with a girlfriend, with the kids. This all works. Okay. So what I thought would be really good here, though, is really practicing playing with our requests, because I think this is where we can, become very powerful, like it's like the courtesanly fashion. So this is where we can turn our requests into clean. So instead of, oh, I wish that he would just be more masculine, that I would like you to be responsible for setting up a date on Friday. or if my, oh, well, I wish you'd just take more initiative. Um, could you go ahead and schedule the appointment for the car? Like where, right, where, what's the actual underlying command of, we tend to be vague in our judgments. Instead of me saying like, God, I just wish Ian would help more. Well, could you take care of the grocery shopping this week? Right? Like, where do I actually want the help? Where can we be super clear so there's very little room to fuck up? They can still fuck up, but it's not, it's the chances shrink when we give these really specific requests. So I think let's do breakout rooms. Um, and just practice this. So actually, no, let's do a journal. I'm going to put on some music. So if I think actually the best way to do this is think of like what your current criticisms are of your partner, if it's a friendship, if it's at work, where are you unsatisfied? Where do you feel like someone is not providing enough? And just kind of get those criticisms down. So start with the things that won't work. Where are you unsatisfied? But the things that would be offensive if we said it directly. And so we'll get a couple of criticisms down. And then, okay, so what is that request that would actually get you the thing that you want, right? So if someone's not being masculine enough, if someone isn't showing enough initiative, if uh if you want more help, if you're not feeling supported, if you're not feeling like someone's being steamy enough with you, get those criticisms down and then see what you would like how you would transform that into a clean request. This should be fun. Okay, go ahead and get your last idea down. Okay, and then I think we have to share. I love seeing some like giggles. I had giggles myself, seeing other people giggle about what came down. But if you want to, let's share, yeah, just share a couple things that were there, um, two or three, and then your rephrase, Lexiana.
Okay, so I've been texting this guy that I mentioned in the beginning of the call for like 2, 3 days, and I want him to ask me out because I want to meet him, and I haven't been on a date in a long time, and but he keeps like asking me questions about me. I'm like, we could be having dinner and talking about this, you know.
Good.
um, so because it's very like there's no like established relationship between us. I tried the sandwich and it felt like a little bit too much. So I just kind of landed in like, hey Jen, would you like for us to meet? Something like simple and sweet and just a question.
Yeah, because right now in your head, the thing that's running is like, why aren't you asking me out, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So just rephrasing and saying, even if you said something like, I'd love to, I'd love for us to just like be in person and have this conversation. Would you
Yeah.
would you like to take me out for coffee? That would be
I
hot.
like that.
Also
That's
putting it
awesome.
in, would you like to take me out for coffee?
Yeah, because I do want to be taken out. I don't want to ask him out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
great.
okay, wait, one more time.
Yeah. So you could say to him, I would love, actually, where you could have, you could still play with the sandwich. You could say, oh my gosh, it thrills me how you want to be my groupie. I would love to have this conversation in person. Or you could even leave that as a question. Wouldn't it be fun to just have this conversation in person? Do you want to take me out for coffee?
That feels like an edge for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
mean, yeah, and I think the fact that they have so many questions for you, I mean, this you you putting your request out there will probably just make them excited. It is vulnerable because you are you are sort of saying this is what I would like. And would you like to take me out for coffee? It is putting the invitation in his hands, but I think if it feels like you're at, I always say follow the discomfort, follow your edge.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm sending pussy juice to you.
Thank you.
And then the other part of the sandwich would be if he does ask you out for coffee, would be like, oh my gosh, I love, what about how he asks turned you on, and just like, praising him for that. Yay. Okay, who else wants to share some of theirs? I can go first if people want some examples. Okay, I'll go with a couple. So for Ian, I could just say to him, I wish you'd just initiate sex more. So instead of that, I will make a clean request of, on Friday, would you please have music on and toys out when I come up to bed? Directive. Um, but I wish you'd help out more at home, replacing it with, can you please vacuum the living room Thursday? Um, I also, this is so real for me because there's like our windshield is cracked and it just keeps cracking more. And I'm like, don't you want your family to be safe? And he's like, oh, it's not unsafe. It's like, I just want him to go and get it replaced. So my complaint would be, I don't want to be the one who always, it's like just more of the cock on. I don't want to be the one who goes and books that appointment. So I could just say to him, could you be the one I'd like you to be responsible for getting the windshield repaired. Can you make an appointment to have the windshield repaired? So those are the ones that I was playing with. Okay. Kaya.
In all honesty, last night I was waking up every 2 hours, so my brain going into this, I was like, I'm hitting walls, and so when I have more brain capacity, I'm gonna try this again. But a lot of what was coming up, I was actually playing around with the stuff that was coming up around when I was in my previous partnership because I mean, there were things that I wanted him to do and ways that I wanted to be met, but the way that I was asking, and I was such a critic. I was a bitch. With love, I love myself. I was such a bitch. I was very, because I was fed up and I was
Mm-hmm.
like past the point of no return. And so this was just like, I almost wish I had this tool at that time, but I also don't because I trust how everything worked out. But it's interesting that this is coming in now when him and I are in whatever dynamic we're in right now. Um, and so yeah, this could be very helpful moving forward. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's another way you could look at it, is like, okay, what does the bitch just want to say? This is great in business too, because like there's some times where you will be with your client and you're going to be like, you're going to want to say something like, they're going to drive you crazy because you want to be like, don't you know? Um,
Yeah,
and
could you give an example of like what that sandwich could look like with a client?
um, yeah, okay. I'm trying to think. I really am great at having dream clients. Um, well, one is like in sales, for example, where people are like, well, I, oh, what's like a common excuse? Um, I'll do it once. I'm can't do it now. I'll do it once I have the money. Whereas like, oh, this isn't gonna work for training cycle though. I'm just trying to think of like where, because I'm also Sagittarius, so I tend to be quite blunt. Okay, let's go with actually an example conversation we've had. So the other day, uh, what was it? Oh, with your launch, right? Of the, oh, it feels like nobody is signing up. And and I did respond to you very bluntly, and I was like, okay, wait. Oh no, the no hits, right? Like I put it out and I'm not getting any hits. And it's like, oh, but that's where I was like, that's not how it works. I was like, I'm gonna just be blunt and tell you that's just not how it works. So how I could have sandwiched that, you're good at just taking it. And so it's fine. But if I wanted to sandwich it, making this an example, would be upwriting. Oh my God, you are so good at showing up. You've done so much in the planning. You're so good at, like I love this creative idea that you have for this container. So praising what you've built. And then the ask would be, uh, what would be the direct ask? The direct ask would be, you've got to reach out. Would you send out 5 direct invites to people that really turn you on? And then the other bread piece is celebrating the fuck out of you when you've made those invites, which, could be more than the 5, or celebrating the fuck out of you with also the results that come from reaching out. So those would be the sandwiches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. I feel like later there will be so many other examples that'll come to me. You're not a whiny client. So
Thank you. It's true. I can agree with
so
that.
it's
No.
hard for me to think. I don't really have any whiny clients right now. So let me think back to the ones that I'm probably blocking from my mind. Anyone else want to share?
I'll share, but I'm stuck.
Oh, good. Great.
In
Definitely.
that, you know, in that the problem we have is communication because it goes round in circles and I'm always the one with the problem and I don't know how to get out of that circle. And I've asked to have some help with that. And there's always an answer. And I don't even know how to get out of that loop, even asking in different ways, because I've tried every which way. Because he doesn't have a problem and I'm the one with the problem. So when somebody has all the answers and you're the one with the problems, where do you go with that?
Well, okay, but I think so. If I'm tracking this, we actually are all the ones, like I'm the one with the problem, right? Because I'm not satisfied with what Ian's doing. So am I tracking that right? Or like, are you saying
Um,
you feel like your husband is the one who should be doing the sandwich on you? Which also Ian has learned to do the sandwich with me too, which kills me when I see what he's doing. But also, wise man.
I suppose the disconnect has become larger than I care to admit. And I don't know how to initiate. I mean, it's amicable and we're helpful to one another, but it's not, there's no, I can't find any fire. It's just complicated and I don't know how to begin to change the dynamic.
Okay, so there's something around communication that
Mm.
you would like from your husband.
Yes, in that the conversation always goes round in a circle to his way of thinking. Well, how I see it is to his way of thinking. So I've obviously got a problem with something. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I maybe need to just
Well, it
back out
sounds
of
like,
this.
yeah, it sounds like what you're saying is your husband refuses to, there's no compromise with him, right?
No.
Yeah. Um,
And I've asked for, I've asked directly if we can have marriage, sort of marriage guidance counselling. And he said, well, what are they going to tell me that I don't already know? So it's kind of like, well, yeah, different viewpoint,
yeah.
But it's very difficult when somebody has, and he's a lot older than I am. So it's very difficult well, a lot older, he's 12 years older than me. So not willing to go there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the desire, the thing that you want, let's say the thing that you want is, I mean, this is a big one. It's different than taking the trash out, right? But what you want is for him to come to a counseling session with you.
Yes.
So what would be the sandwich? Because that's a big ask. I'm just wondering too, if, okay, what would be the smaller asks that you could make to get him there? Like I'm kind of seeing, like, how in introducing
Well,
it.
he does all the little things, he does all the big things. It's like he does everything and expects, but it's just out of kilter.
Okay, so what would be a thing that you would praise about him, in terms of communication? And it might be hard because also it sounds like it's triggering, but
Well,
one thing that you,
he finds that he really does not receive praise. He doesn't receive gifts. He doesn't receive praise. He doesn't receive anything really.
mm,
And there's one thing he wants, and it's very difficult to, if there's no other way of pleasing a person or feeling that you can please a person,
right.
because he doesn't care for praise. He doesn't care. It's very. So I don't really know if there's an answer to that here now. At this point, I'm just saying that that's my dilemma at the minute,
Yeah.
and
The
has
way
been for.
I mean, I hear you and I witness you in it, and it's frustrating because you want to try and this is that piece of, you need the willing participant.
Hmm.
That's, I think, what makes this so complicated is right now it feels like, I mean, especially if you say, well, why would I need that when I already know, what else could they tell me that I don't know?
Hmm.
So that is him actually showing he's not a willing participant.
Not in that respect, no.
Yeah. So I think that is where you feel stuck. I also think that's like where my mind is that's a big ask, right? So this is where the training cycle is useful because it's like we use it over and over and over again, and that is what allows evolution. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, if we know that the final, like the big desire is to get into a couples counseling session, what little pieces, but I wonder if, yeah, if he won't receive praise and he won't, um if, yeah, I don't know. I think one thing that I get as a hit too, though, is maybe he's not responsive to praise, but I just think,
Hmm.
like, as a human, if he gets it, if there's not a silent part inside of him that's like grateful for it, he might just have such a mask up that he refuses to show that he received it.
Hmm. I'll sit with it a bit.
I would play with just very, very casually dropping little appreciations. his way without playing with the whole cycle. I would just start saying like, oh, I just so appreciate when you da 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 da. Oh, did I ever tell you I'm so grateful that you do this so I don't have to worry about it? You know,
I actually do that. And I don't know if it registers.
yeah.
I really don't know if that registers. Anyway, I appreciate that.
Well, I've solved
Oh,
that for you, goddess. And can see why you feel so stuck as you're trying.
thank you.
Mm. You could go to the middle sandwich and see what happens if you just drop some asks. Don't go into conversation about it. Just your gratitude, and then make, again, small asks. See what happens. I would just, it could be a pleasure research practice. Yeah. Oh, so good. Okay. And like I said, it is long and arduous work. So witnessing you in that, and what you're offering. Okay, goddesses. Well, that closes our call. Actually, what do I want to say? To just close. This is where the training cycle. So acknowledging that it is a skill, right? And the skill doesn't make the relationship. The relationship, and it's just that, I think this is actually really huge, piggybacking off of where you feel, Katie, you're at. But, the relationship is the commitment to the evolution together, right? Can we both be willing to learn? This is so big between both Ian and I. Can I tell you what I want without attacking you? Can the other person hear me without becoming defensive? Can I receive your effort without criticizing the way you do it? That's also harder work than we realize sometimes. Can we keep growing? Can I keep growing? Can he keep growing? Can we be, this is the one that I see so collectively right now. Can we repair when we fuck it up? Like, I really, really love being surrounded by so many like powerful women, because I do find that, again, when women are practicing with expanding their capacity, those women are more willing to be able to sit with the discomfort of having a repair conversation, of being able to be like, oh, I fucked up, and it's really important for me to talk about it and clear things up. A lot of people avoid confrontation, right? Can we stay devoted to becoming better partners instead of demanding the other person arrive already knowing how to love us perfectly? That's like a really big request, because we know how we like to be loved. Others know how they like to be loved. There's a lot that has to happen in communication in between, about thinking about how others want to be loved, and expecting someone to just like love us perfectly. It's an outrageous, that's an outrageous request. So we can't train someone who is unwilling to participate. That's kind of like the integrity of this piece, right? We can't, this isn't a manipulation practice. We aren't going to manipulate a man or friend or colleague into masculine leadership, or whatever, outcome we want. It's really about how we create the conditions where a willing partner can then step forward, and how to discover whether they're actually willing, which today's conversation is like, we've deep into all of those parts. Okay, gorgeous goddesses, another absolute pleasure of getting to spend a Wednesday afternoon with you all. Pop in the thread any moments of wisdom that have landed, or pieces as you integrate, or as you work this in your practice. I know Lexiana's gone, but I hope she I hope she gives us some frames about her putting hers into action. And those of you who are in Sacred Seductress, I will see you tomorrow. The Kinky Business, the early bird closes on Sunday. So if that is something you still are thinking about or want to talk about, now is a great time for us to connect. And I'm super, super excited. I bragged 2 more goddesses who are coming in today, and it's gonna be a really 2, actually maybe 3 more coming in today. So let's just brag, and it's all coming together, and you don't want to miss it. Okay, goddesses, I will see you, many of you, tomorrow.